U.S. Constitution. Do I have time to read that?
No.
Okay, so a better constitutional amendment for Minnesota based on the framework of the 14th Amendment would reaffirm the securing of rights to all Minnesotans and the blessing of liberty without abridgment to ourselves and our posterity. I humbly propose an improved and amended version of this bill to the committee to debate for our state. It is important to remember that this House is not bestowing rights onto peoples. The rights of the people and our freedoms originate outside of government in the natural law, as it tells us in the Declaration of Independence. Your job is to secure these rights among us. Here's my proposal. I'll end with this. All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. Minnesota, the state of Minnesota, shall not make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of Minnesota residents, nor shall the state of Minnesota deprive any person, and we can have a very good debate on when personhood will begin under the law, deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, or deny to any person within Minnesota's jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws. That would be a better constitutional amendment than this, as stated. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hort. Go ahead, and we are running close to on time here, so thank you so much. Go ahead and introduce yourself for the record.
My name is Brad Lepto. I'm the Secretary Treasurer of the Minnesota AFL-CIO. Federation of 1,000 local union state councils with over 300,000 members. I'm here today since I can support House Bill 13. The Minnesota AFL does not take lightly placing constitutional amendments on the election ballot. We have opposed many. However, this amendment is too important to ignore. Quite honestly, I'm astounded that in 2019, we are still fighting for constitutional rights, equal rights for all. This debate as mentioned, started 100 years ago, but actually, I will talk a lesser time. March 1972, Congress placed an amendment to the U.S. Constitution for states for ratification. From 1972 until next month here, it will have been 47 years since Congress took action. Sadly, I will say the National AFL-CIO and the Minnesota AFL-CIO were late to actively support the National ERA, but we're not. Once we did support it, we actively did so, and are proud to support this effort. Again, this debate has been raging for 47 years plus, but I would just say from 72, but it's actually longer. The truly disappointing fact is that we're still having this debate, a debate about over half the population. And we have no problem with gender or sex, but over half the population having equal rights. The time is now, the wait must be over. This amendment should go forward. The Minnesota AFL-CIO is proud to support House Bill 13. We respectfully ask you to vote yes to move the bill forward. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, and you were under 2 minutes. We appreciate that. Thank you. And members, I think what we're going to do, I know there were a few questions, but I'm going to call on the person who hasn't had a chance yet to ask a question, and that's you, Representative Rollins.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Yep.
Thank you, Representative Commissioner. So my question relates to the gender question as well, but in a different way. It's just very practical. The main thing I've heard from many of my constituents who have contacted me on this issue is their concerns about how this will impact girls and women's sports, both in like elementary and high school level and also at the collegiate level. And their concern about the use of the word gender is that it will make it more difficult for women to participate in sports when Title IX has made great strides in that. So if you could just address how this particular use of gender will affect women in sports, that would be great. Thank you.
Go ahead, Representative.
Well, I think my answer is that we have no idea how that will affect it at this time. The effect and the addition of the ERA in our state would have, will eventually have effects, but it won't be immediate. How, again, how school districts or athletics starts to interpret it, that would be up to them. But at this point, this bill is asking for equal rights for all. I just lost my thought. So I'm sorry, I don't know how to reply to that one. Again, I think there are many ways that people will interpret this bill and use it one way or the other. But again, we would hope that folks would use it to be advantageous rather than to keep another person or another group down. So I'm sorry, I don't have an answer for that specifically.
Representative Robbins.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Representative. So I would just want to state on behalf of many of my constituents this grave concern that some have already seen in their schools about, because of concern about gender, that people who are not female by birth are participating on female sports teams, and that's very concerning to them and their ability to participate fully. So, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, with that, at this time,
Madam Chair, how many people, if I may ask, how many people are left that have questions on your list?
I had a couple, I think, maybe you and Lucero did, and I was trying to honor those who hadn't had a chance to ask a question.
Right, and I appreciate that. You know, I'm not doing anything tonight. I'm more than glad to come back this evening to talk more about this issue. I think it's a really important one. And I think we need to distinguish this issue of gender versus sex. We haven't heard back from House Research the definition of sex. And I think what we're feeling here is we're getting mixed messages that while the author and the supporters of this want to promote women's rights, what we're doing is conflating this issue by inserting the word gender, which has only been done in one other state. And it's actually going to have the opposite effect. It could potentially have the opposite effect of what the author really wants the bill to do, by just stating what my colleague to my right just stated, in that someone that identifies as a woman that is a man is going to be okay. You know, they're going to have rights over and above the women that this bill is supposed to protect. So I think this merits more discussion, and I'm more than happy to come back tonight if you would see fit to lay this on the table. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Scott. I'm not going to do that. Some of us do have committee hearings already scheduled for tonight as well, and I think at this point, people have had a chance to express their concerns about this. This is the third stop that it's been through. My understanding it's going to end up on the House floor as well, so there will be another opportunity for debate at that point. So at this point, I am going to move House File 13.
Madam Chair?
At this point,
I have more questions as a result of the testimony and new statements that were made. New questions that I didn't think of the first time.
Chair Mariani.
Madam Chair, were you in the middle of making a motion? Is that correct?
That's correct, Mr.
Madam Chair, I think it's appropriate to allow the maker of the motion to continue making the motion without interruption. And I want to modify the motion, so I'd like to amend your motion because I think I know what your motion is going to be.
All right, I'm going to continue with my motion. At this point, I move House File 13 be re-referred to the Ways and Means Committee.
Madam Chair, I would like to amend your motion. And I'd like to, actually, it's not an amendment motion. Madam Chair, I would ask for a roll call vote on this.
All right, Chair Mariani has asked for a roll call, and at this time, the clerk will take the roll.
Representative Muller?
Aye.
Representative Scott?
No.
Representative Barr?
No.
Representative Cantrell?
Yes.
Representative Carlson?
Yes.
Representative Considine?
Yes.
Representative Russell?
No.
Representative Hassan? Representative Hurt?
Yes.
Representative Johnson?
No.
Representative Levy? Representative Lucero?
No.
Representative Mariani?
Yes.
Representative Noor?
Yes.
Representative O'Neill?
No.
Representative Robbins?
Yeah.
Representative John?
Yes.
Okay. There being 8 ayes and 7 nays, the motion prevails, and House File 13 is recommended to be referred to the Ways and Means Committee. With that, members, we are going to stand in adjournment. We'll be meeting again tomorrow to hear one.